Okay, everybody, welcome. Thank y'all for calling in or Zooming in or Facebooking in. Today is May the 18th, Monday night. It's our Cheetah Nation Family Unit Meeting. So thank you for coming on here. Believe me, it means something to me and the directors that you got on here. And because we talk to y'all probably don't know this, but we talk to each other all day long, every day, the directors do. So we really are on this to talk to y'all. So tonight, our training is going to be on leadership. And we've got some special things to share. And I asked Selah and Laree both to share their one tip on leadership. Because here's the thing. You may go, well, I'm not a leader. Yes, you are. Okay, first of all, leaders are people that get involved and actually get on calls and try to improve themselves. And you have influence over other people. And it may be that you just lead, some family members or your customers, but someone is always looking up to you. Let me just tell you that. And I feel like people that call in, Zoom in, whatever, that they are looking to be a leader in Mary Kay. And it may be even just be a little small team. But I think that that leadership is important to everybody. Okay, so I'm anxious to hear what Selah, her tip, and then Laree's tip, and then I'm going to give you a couple tips. Okay, so Selah, let me unmute you. Hang on just a second. Okay, Selah, we're ready to hear.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good. Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be on here tonight. I've mentioned to several of you before that I'm doing this challenge called 75 Hard. And one of the things I have to do every day is read 10 pages of a self-improvement or some kind of improvement type book. And so I've already been through 2 books, but today, of all days, I started this, Miracles Happen by Mary Kay Ash. So I thought, you know what? Instead of me giving you a leadership tip from the words of Selah Love, I would let Mary Kay speak. I'm going to read you just a couple of paragraphs out of here. It says, can you still hear me, Cleta? Okay. It says, "You can do it" is an everyday motto at Mary Kay Cosmetics. And so often a woman will join us who is in desperate need of hearing this message. For whatever the reason, she often needs to build her feelings of self-esteem and worth. Obviously, she must first be told you can do it, but we can't stop there, and we don't. Sadly, most people live and die with their music still unplayed. They never dare to try. Why? Because they lack self-confidence. Women especially have so much potential and they never tap. For me, seeing many women grow and develop has been the most meaningful accomplishment of Mary Kay Cosmetics. Everyone benefits when we all pass on the "you can do it" spirit. Often we meet a woman when she is like a tight rosebud, full of potential, never revealed. After a few months of praise and encouragement, she blossoms into a beautiful rose, poised and confident in her newfound skills. So those are words of Mary Kay. I mean, I could read, it's obviously a whole book that is just filled. Mary Kay wrote the book. But as far as being a leader, sometimes I think that we make leadership about us and what we are doing, when in essence, Mary Kay started the business so that we could help others and help them grow and become all they could be. So I just hope this encourages you, and just know that most women out there, no matter what they look like on the outside, really, like when you encourage them and say, yes, you can do it, like Mary Kay said, it's like pouring water on a wilted plant, and you just see people come to life. So don't make it about you. Let's make it about the other people that we are trying to empower, whether it's through skincare or sharing the opportunity, and just watch our teams grow. Thank you.
So good, Selah, so good. And Selah has always been a leader. I mean, we talked about this the other day, she and I did. I mean, through high school, college, and then as a young adult, and of course now. And so I thank you for sharing from Mary Kay Ash, and I love that. And what the thing I got the most of it is, that it's not about you, it's about others. So that's very wise, very wise. Okay, Laree? I'll let you.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Well, when Selah started out, I got a little worried because I thought she's going to say the exact same thing I was going to say. But my leadership tip is to read. Read and really think about what you put in your mind. I've always told my children, leaders are readers. And so just whatever you think about is what you bring about. So Philippians 4:8 says, whatsoever things are true, noble, just, pure, lovely, of good report, if there are any virtue, and if anything is praiseworthy, meditate on these things. And when you read, you have to tell your mind what you want to think about. And the subconscious works exponentially while we sleep and other things. And so thoughts become actions, actions become habits, and habits are what's going to build your future. And so you have to decide if you're going to have a consumer mindset, consuming entertainment, consuming other things, or if you're going to have an entrepreneurial growth mindset. And the good and the bad of that is you can change your mind and change which direction at any point in time. If you've had a Netflix binge watch weekend, you can decide to change your mind and do something else and get out of that consumer mindset and get in a growth mindset at any point in time. The problem is the converse can also happen. You can fall off the bandwagon occasionally, but that's okay. We do need to give ourselves a break sometimes too. But start your day with reading God's word. Build your day on the solid rock and start your day out that way. But then you also want to meditate on his scriptures, meditate on the promises of God's word. But then next is you want to expand your mind with leadership books. And I just brought a few of them in here, and this is one by Joyce Myers. And so sometimes when you need to tell yourself what to think, I like to pull out little books, and this one is The Secret Power of Speaking God's Word. And it's got a little index with just whatever you need to speak about in your life. And so this one is one that I kind of turn to sometimes if I'm going to do booking calls or if I'm going to go out and do something, because this little section is on favor and it's just got scriptures. So Job 10:12, you have granted me life and favor, and your providence has preserved my spirit. Psalm 5:12, you, Lord, will bless me, and all the uncompromisingly righteous, all who are upright and in good standing with you. As with a shield, you will surround me with goodwill, pleasure, and favor. Psalm 37, by your favor, O Lord, you have established me as a strong mountain. Psalm 89:17, you are the glory of my strength, my proud adornment, and by your favor my horn is exalted, and I walk with uplifted face. And so sometimes, all the time, we can change how we are thinking by telling ourselves what we're going to think. And so when you're down in the dumps, it's so hard sometimes to pull yourself out. And so you need something to pull from. Here was another one that is talking about, it's another one from Joyce Myers. It's called Power Thoughts, 12 Strategies to Win the Battlefield of Your Mind. And I think as women, that is a terrible battlefield sometimes. We have doubts, we have insecurities, we have regrets, we have mistakes, we have all these things that are going on in our mind. And sometimes it just takes precedence over the powerful thoughts that we could think. And so this is one talking about making your mind work to it. And ironically, it was the same scripture that Selah talked about in Habakkuk. But Philippians 4:13 says, I have strength for all things in Christ who empowers me. I am ready for anything and equal to anything through him who infuses inner strength unto me. I am self-sufficient in Christ's sufficiency. And this little section was talking about write it on a vision, write the vision on a tablet and make it plain in Habakkuk. And so you need to find these scriptures that are empowering you and just leadership thoughts that can uplift you and that you can surround yourself with. And I do love to read, and I just had my 49th birthday last Monday. And so one of the things that I'm giving myself for my birthday this year is I'm going to read 49 books. Wow. And that is, somehow, some way I'm going to, bathe my mind. Because when I hit 50, I want to be a powerful 50. And so there are so many things. And so I just went to my bookshelf and I pulled out. Now I have not read all of these because I do tend to buy books that I hear even when I haven't had time to read them yet. But I just wanted to bring you a stack of and so I'm going to show you this to give you a visual. But I also want to say, I understand that some people do not enjoy reading. But you know, there are some things in life that are good for us that we just don't enjoy. So I challenge you to make yourself read something, even if it's not. I don't expect anybody else to do 49 books, but there are so many leadership emails and leadership and entrepreneurial emails that you can get. Alan Zimmerman is a good one that he has a Tuesday tips. Google him, Alan Zimmerman. He has great information. It's one email a week. I get a lot of material from that. Another one is Benjamin Hardy. I think it's benhardy.com or benjaminhardy.com. I will tell you his email subscription is a little overwhelming because it just is too much. But he has some really good thoughts. So I don't read them every day because I just can't. But I kind of cull through the subject line and see what I want for that day, because he has interviewed so many things, and he's got a PhD and just some good information. So find what works for you. But you do need to empower yourself and mentally, figure out what you want to tell your brain to think. Napoleon Hill was one of the ones that Mary Kay always liked too, and he had a book, Think and Grow Rich, and a lot of some of the points that are in a lot of the Mary Kay training comes from that book, as far as visualizing and that kind of thing. So here's one, Girl Wash Your Face, that I'm reading right now, by Rachel Hollis, and it just talks about stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you were meant to be. That's one. Waking the Dead. Selah told me about this one. I haven't started it yet, but I went ahead and ordered it. Elridge. The Power of Praying for Your Adult Children. And this is one. I've got The Power of the Praying Wife. I've got The Power of the Praying Woman. These are great, great scriptures, and I learned how to pray God's word effectively through these books. Okay, this one is a Get Over Yourself book. I won't say what it is, but it's awesome for network marketing. Christine Kane, Unstoppable. Finish, Give Yourself the Gift of Done, by John Aycock. My little journal that I found when I was cleaning my office.
Go,
Redeemed, a journal, embracing a transformed life. The Power of Self-Discipline, No Excuses. The Power of Your Words. I wound up having 2 copies of that. Power of a Praying, The Power of a Praying Life. John Ortberg, If You Want to Get Out of the Boat, if you want to walk on water, you got to get out of the boat. Think and Grow Rich. Girl, Stop Apologizing. You Are a Badass. Awesome book. And Mary Kay, You Can Have It All. So here is my full stack of books. Some I've read, a lot of which I've read, but some I'm going to go back, because you need to, and that's the other thing too, is you can power read. You don't have to, like when I'm reading a fiction novel, I may listen to every word in my head, but when you're reading leadership books and nonfiction books, you can power read and glean out of each line what you need. But that's my leadership tip, is read and empower yourself, and do it a little bit every day. Just like she said, 10 minutes a day, you'll be amazed at what you can read.
Awesome, Loree. Oh my gosh, that is good. I figured out all you got to read is 4 books a month. You can do that, and then 1 extra, and you got your 49. So since she did that, I just might as well show you what is sitting here on my desk of what I am reading right now. Okay, so here are these are my books for right now. So the first one is the Daily Bible, chronological order. And so I've already read, right this much so far already. So I love that. Of course, Finish. John Alton Sweeney recommended that. And then Fervent. This is a great book. It's A Woman's Battle for Serious, Strategic, and Specific Prayer. And like Loree, I started this. I read it through in 2015. I can't remember none of it, so I'll pull it back out and read it again. And then this is the one I'm going to talk to you about tonight, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And it also has a workbook that goes with it, which is really, really great. So I was invited by Don Alton Sweeney to participate in a very small group of leaders that are going for national, and on a once-a-week call with her until September, at least 21 or 22 weeks. And so it was a commitment. I mean, that's a long time to say, I'm going to get on a call every single week. And I already have several other calls, as y'all well know. but I thought, yeah, this is what I need to do. So anyway, last week was the first call, and she asked us to buy this book, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And there was they have different laws, and the first one was called the Law of the Lid. And the Law of the Lid it basically says that your leadership ability is in direct proportion, your success dedication is in direct proportion to your leadership ability. And what that means is like if you rate yourself like as a leader, like let's say a 6, you say I'm about a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, then your success ability and your effectiveness is only going to be a 5. Like you can't go further than your leadership as far as being effective success-wise. And even if you really just work hard, but if you don't increase your leadership level, you still only can go so far. Well, anyway, a lot of the things that they have you do is rate yourself, have other people rate you. I had Salem Marie rate me, plus some other people. I had Dawn rate me, and some people that are at my same level. And so that you can kind of get an idea of what you need to improve on. And the things that I had to rate myself and ask others to rate me was on people skills, on strategic thinking and planning. That's like 1. On vision, and on results. And then you can look at it and decide what you need to work on, which is, really enlightening. And of course, nobody's 10 at all of them, because if we were all 10s, then you'd already be where you need to be, right? So there's always room for improvement. So one of the assignments, I'll say a few things after this, but one of the assignments was that we had to write down if someone we thought had great leadership that had an unlimited lid of for a law of the lid leadership. And I thought, so I wrote down, I put they said name some people. So I put many national sales directors. I didn't really name any names. And then I wrote down Nathan Moore, our president. So then later in the assignments, it says, go back to number 2 and interview one of those people. Well, the only name I put down was Nathan Moore, because I didn't write down a name of a national. And I thought, I got to call Nathan Moore and interview him. I'm sure he's has nothing to do. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I did not call him, but I emailed him first thing on Monday morning last week, a week from today. And I said, first of all, I took time to thank him for his leadership in Mary Kay and to tell him what I saw from the minute he took over the reins to now. And because I really have not had a chance to tell him that. Daryl Overcash, she was the one before that. But Nathan Moore, I do know him on a first name basis, on the trips, we get to spend time with him. But anyway, so I told him that, and then I asked him that if he had time, and I put, you have nothing else to do, LOL, could he answer 5 questions for me on leadership? And that it would, mean a lot to me. So I want to share that interview with you, and then we'll talk just a second more about it, okay? So these are the questions. And he told me, by the way, our president's pretty awesome. He emailed me right back within 15 minutes and said, I'll be glad to, I'll get back with you by tonight. And so he emailed me back, and here are the questions. It says, the first question I asked him was, when did you first see yourself as a leader? So Nathan said, I'm not sure exactly, but it was after others saw me as a leader. In elementary school, my teachers would tell me and my parents at the dreaded parent-teacher conferences that I was a natural leader. I never understood what that meant, and quite frankly, I wasn't interested in it at that time. It was probably because this observation followed my teacher's admonition that I talked an awful lot during class, and he put LOL. In any event, I heard this when I was young and didn't really understand what it meant. It was just being me, so I thought. In junior high school, coaches kept putting me in leadership positions on the field and appointing me team captain. And he was the team captain of the football team as a senior as well. And so he says, I suppose that's when it first dawned on me that I, in fact, was inclined to lead. So the next question I asked him, I said, what are some of the greatest challenges you have faced as a leader? So he said, stepping out of my comfort zone. I've always tried to challenge myself and confront my fears head on. I remember when I worked my first career conference as a staff attorney. I had only been at Mary Kay a few months. I was on the registration team. I watched the hosting NSDs in awe. They just walked on stage and started talking in front of 1,000 people like it was nothing. So I pressed the MC to let me get on stage. And I got to tell y'all something about this later. It's hilarious now, and I still can't believe I did it, but the hosting NSDs told the MC to let me have some script. I got about a page of Mary Kay Foundation script. I popped on the stage after a video bumper and read that page like a speed reader at the end of a bad radio commercial. I was scared to death, but I forced myself to do it. I think effective leaders always push themselves even when it's hard and the risk is high. However, while challenging, it is also the most rewarding. And this is so funny because I know Sayla knows what I'm fixing to say, because we were at Career Conference in Jacksonville, Florida, and I was, for the first time for me, I was in the top 3, and I got to speak on stage. Well, guess who introduced me? One of our staff attorneys with Mary Kay, Nathan Moore. And it's so funny because I was single at the time. And of course, Nathan Moore is very married. But Sayla, so, all right, let me go back. So anyway, he introduced me, and then afterwards he was like complimenting me, told me I did a great job. And so when I sat down, Sayla said, now I know he's married, but that's the kind of man I see you with. Because she see me with some loser guys. She goes like he's sharp, you know, he's got a great job, he's professional, and it's just funny we have always said that. And then lo and behold, years come later, and Nathan is our president. You know, I forgot it's being recorded, but anyway. Oh well. So I did share with him, and he remembered that he introduced me on stage. And I'll tell you one other funny thing about Nathan Moore. I was flying to Dallas one time, and I got beside this guy, and he was trying to chat me up, you know. Sometimes you're just like, dude, quit talking to me, you know. And so he goes, oh, Mary Kay. He goes, I know somebody that works for Mary Kay. I said, really? And he said, yeah. He goes, have you ever heard of Nathan Moore? And this was right after he had introduced me. I said, yeah, I've heard of him. Matter of fact, he just introduced me on stage at a conference last week. He goes, really? Well, he and I played football together. And then he went on to tell me all this stuff. And then I'm like, okay. So then that guy, he set me up with one of his friends. Okay. And I had a blind date with some dude in Dallas that did not work out. But he did have a really nice car and had a really nice dinner. But that's enough about me. Okay, let's go back to Nathan Moore. All right. Okay. So number 3 was, what has contributed to your growth as a leader? So he said, embracing change. One critical variable to a leader's growth is to constantly embrace change. I believe effective leaders embrace change as who they are. Leaders lead. They go forward. How do you follow someone who is not moving? One question I periodically ask myself is, if I was replaced tomorrow, what would be the very first thing my replacement would do? Talk about embracing change. It must be a part of your fiber, part of your being. And I really, of everything he says, and I'm going to read the rest of it, I really thought about that. And I thought, if someone was handed over my unit tomorrow, like they said, sorry, Cleta's gone off to, whatever she's doing, and now all of y'all are in this unit, and she was another top director, what would be the first thing she would do with my people? And that's something to think about. As a sales director, as a recruiter, if you have recruits on your team, if your recruits were given to someone else, what would be the first thing they would do? Or would they go, man, I've got to really step it up because she really took care of her people? So that is a great thing, I think, to think about, is what would, or like if you took over somebody else's team, what would you do? So I think that was really good. Okay, number 4, I asked him, what are you currently doing to grow as a leader? And Nathan said, like you, I'm a student of leadership. I read, thank you, Larry and Sayla. I listen to podcasts. I observe other great leaders. I watch videos, etc. I love that your group is working on getting better as leaders. And then last one is number 5. I said, what is the best piece of advice that you would have for someone who aspires to be an effective leader? And this was, I think, great advice for all of us. And it goes back to really what Sayla and Loree were both saying too. So he said, your email to me mentioned a leadership lid in the context of being unlimited. That's interesting because I believe the way a leader reaches his or her full potential is not by what he or she does. Rather, a leader's full potential will be reached by who their leaders empower. Mary Kay understood this principle. I picked up on this in her autobiography, thank you, Sayla, and adopted it when I started as staff attorney. She knew that if a leader helps those on her team, unit, area be successful and achieve what they want, the leader will in turn be successful. It's not about what the leader does, it's about who she empowers. My two sons are starting their careers, and I stress this principle to them. Society tells us to focus on ourselves. I tell them, focus on your team. Make sure their teams are achieving success. Ask them what they want and what they need for you to be successful. They define their success. I tell my sons their job is to make their teams win. If their teams win, they will win. So just like Sayla said, and that's why it's funny because that's why I wanted them to speak first, because I knew that I would be reiterating whatever they said. And so, leaders are readers. People do not care what you know unless they see that you care about them, right? And so I wanted to just tell you, I did a little class, and let me just wrap up with this, that I shared with another director a couple of things that I thought, and I also shared this with the letter that I wrote too, but I want to read these. Hang on, let me get it up here. These are just a couple of leadership tips, and they'll just be quick. So number one is that leaders need to lead. So if you are, one of the things in the book that says, if you're leading and nobody's following, you're just taking a walk. It's okay to walk, but don't call yourself a leader if nobody's even following you, okay? And then number two, Mary Kay always said, and any of you that have been in Mary Kay for more than 3 minutes know that you would say, what's your best leadership? She goes, there's only 3 ways to lead. Y'all remember? She'd say, by example, by example, by example. So number 3 of my tips is, if your team emulated every single thing you did last week for your business, would your team be a rock star team, or would you be like, eek? So I want you to think about what you do, and your team is following you. So if you're not embracing change, and you're not getting on the calls, and you're not reaching out to your customers, and you're not holding any appointments, and then you're telling your team members, if you have any, y'all need to la 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 la, right? Because sometimes Sayla and Loree and I, we mention what we sell and what we've done, not to brag on ourselves, but to give us credibility. And that is why we talk about it sometimes. So we are not trying to just talk the talk. We're trying to actually walk the walk and walk the talk. I did a little sermonette on that last week. I'll look that up. Okay, and number 4, Mary Kay Ash said, let them learn why you earn. So I wanted to mention that is a great way to lead your team when you're leading by example. Is anytime you have something, then if you have team members, invite them to come on there with you so they can learn. For example, like like what we have done with Loree and Sayla and Lindy and Janet and I, we just have a group, and we do it every Thursday night, and we're not limiting it just to our own personal customers. We opened it up so y'all could get on there too. And although, yes, I want to make money every Thursday night. Otherwise, I might as well just be watching TV, right? So I want to make money, but I want you guys to make money too. And so does Sayla and Marie and Janet and Lindy. We want y'all to invite your customers on there. So as you sign people up and you're doing maybe a little virtual party, ask your team to come with you and say, hey, would you like to invite some guests too? And I'll do the talking and you can make the money. And it helps both of y'all. And then number 5, leaders are not born in a crisis. They reveal themselves to you. And so I want you to think about yourself during this pandemic. This is not where leaders are born. This is where you'll see who the real leaders are, because the real leaders have they have, yes, they have struggled through all this just like everybody, but they have found a way. They're not under the covers and waiting for someone to tell them it's over. They're living life and going, okay. And I have seen women that technology is the last thing they want to be doing. But they realize in some parts of the country, that is the only way you're gonna be able to reach out to people. So you can either just quit your Mary Kay business and start it back up in a year, or you can embrace technology and learn something. So I'm so proud of y'all. All of you that are listening to this, I'm so proud of y'all because you're leading because you're in the unit. You're like, okay, because in some of y'all, you may not have team members yet, but you're a leader in our unit because you show up, you participate, you support your sales director, you're a good example. And we so appreciate that. Okay, and then I've already told you number 6, that was about the laws of leadership, how you want to rate yourself. And so I've already mentioned that about people skills, planning, and strategic thinking, results, and vision. Rate yourself and ask someone else to rate you. And then number 7 was about Nathan Moore. I've already talked to you about that. And then the last one is number 8. Okay, and what I wrote down is that once you identify the areas you need to work on, and you want to think about not comparing yourself to other people, because normally if you compare yourself to me, you would probably compare yourself and go, if you're not technology savvy, you may go, I just can never be as technical as Cheetah, la 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 la. But you could do something so much more amazing than me, but you don't compare that. You compare your weakness to my strength. So don't compare, period. Okay, God made us all different. And, one of the things in the book that it really talks about is where you're weak, find you a team that's strong in that area. And that's why a lot of times you'll have, a CEO that has this big vision and an idea, but maybe he's not the people person. So he hires great salesmen to sell that idea to people. And, you need both. So, just kind of think about that. The things that you need help with, reach out to someone who's good. And that's why we hire people sometimes, to do some things for us. That's why a lot of us hire housekeepers. Not that we can't clean a house. We don't want to. We'd rather be doing some Mary Kay, But anyway, I want, as we build our national area together, I want us to all build our own skills as a leader. And I want to thank y'all for being a leader. Our unit just passed over the $500,000 club for the 11th year. We've done over $500,000, and that is a big fat deal. And so I'm proud of the people that are on our team. I'm proud of my offspring and the people that are on their team. And we want to hear more from you. And so what would be our desire for Monday nights? Let me just throw this out, is that you, as a consultant on one of our teams, has a great week. And then you let us know, and then we feature you. Because honestly, I know that y'all get tired of hearing from us every week. We would love to hear from you, but we need you to do something so you have something to talk about, right? And so I know y'all can do it, and we'd love to just hear some suggestions and thoughts from you. There are a lot of units that are rocking it, not necessarily because the director's out having $1,000 weeks. It's because her consultants are having them, and her consultants are sharing with the rest of the unit. So we would love to have that. Sayla, Larry, and I, we've talked about that. We would love to just have more of you teaching, and just like if it was a normal unit meeting. So I just want to throw that there out to you. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. And Sayla and Larry, I would love for y'all, I'm just going to unmute you both, if there's anything you'd like to add to wrap this up for tonight. And thank y'all for your participation.
Sayla, you want to go first?
You're
unmuted, Sayla.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. What a great call, and really and truly, I believe that everyone has leadership qualities, and all of us are on a journey to become stronger leaders. And so I just encourage everyone to let's make it a strong May and June, finish strong, and really. It doesn't matter what your goal is or how crazy it may sound right now. The crazy thing would be to go stick our head in the sand and just say, well, we'll talk about it in July, right? Right now, I think Mary Kay has pulled out all the stops to help us be all that we can be, and it's up to us to take advantage of that. And like they were, like on the call last night, she was saying, and I say so often, it does, she said you don't have to be perfect. Susie Moeller said you don't have to be perfect. And my version of that is, it can be messy. It does, no matter what it looks like, if you're crawling, crying, you know, scrape knees over the finish line, as long as you're on your way there. So we are a strong area. We deserve to be, all of us, our units, to be at the top, to push Cheetah Nation to the top. So I think if we apply all these leadership qualities, then we can go nowhere but forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Selah. Okay, Loree.
As you were talking, I was thinking about so many different things that kind of come to mind, and just I love what you said about, you know, I love, you know, hearing from other people, but you have to, like she said, you have to do something. It was the way it was put to me one time was a friend and mentor said, you know, Loree, you have so much to offer, but you've got to work to get the mic. You know, you've got to do the work that it takes to be able to earn the mic, so to speak. And, you know, and she was talking specifically about directorship, but that really is applicable at any level. And so, you know, selling is not hard, but we have to open our mouth and talk to people, and we have to do those things that we need to do in our brain to psych ourselves out, to, you know, to get that inner courage, you know, that 15 seconds of courage to pick up the phone and talk to people, because we have a wonderful product to share. We have a wonderful opportunity to share. We all love it. We all love it enough to be on multiple calls a week together just to talk about it. So, you know, let's share that with other people and let them be a part of this and let them experience this with us too. So, you know, we would love to hear what you're doing and just and doing some of the things that we talked about reading and pouring into your own mind and doing that work to invest in yourself. That gives you something to say when you do get the mic. So.
Thank you. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay, you guys. Well, I'm going to go and stop the recording here.